Good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon. There's about 2 hours left in the market day. This is March 25th, 2022. This is Ron Brown. As you can see, I just wanted to do my weekend report during this session, during the live session, so I can show you some things that you can't do in other programs. Some people think they can set up these scans and do this work in other programs, but you really can't. Anyway, I'm going to show you my risk disclaimer as I usually do. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. We all know how dangerous stock trading can be. We have good days, bad days, and so on. But I want to try to help you have more good days than bad days by showing you some techniques. Now, I'm in my standard scorecard view, Intraday. By the way, I'm rearranging my files, hopefully to make them a little bit more cohesive. And I'm not going to have that done this weekend, but I'll hopefully get it done next week. What I want to deal with today or show you today is in the designer. This is a tutorial I did a few weeks ago. And the main thing I want to focus on is the intraday price up, fan up, top 100 stocks. But before I do that, since I have the quotes running in the background, I want to go to my industries group. And I'm going to rebuild indexes and groups, and this is updating the industry groups, so they'll be current. It just takes a few seconds to do this. Okay, so the industries are updated with all of the current data. Now I'm going to go down. What I'm going to do is update these groups right here, but I have to update all of my smart groups, so I'll go under Tools and select Rebuild User Smart Groups. Now I've got a lot of smart groups because I do a lot of experimentation, so it takes a few seconds to do this, but not too long. What this is going to do, it's going to pull out the top 100 stocks that have a fan up. In other words, the 18's above the 50, the 50's above the 100, the 100's above the 200-day exponential moving averages. That is what is a fan. So that pulled these stocks up. When I click through to the warehouse view and go to the top, all 100 stocks are here, and you can see that every one of them are up for the day. Now I rebuilt my industries, so I'm going to click on the industry percentage price change, and this shows me that coal and exploration and production are the two top groups, followed by oil and gas services and equipment. There's also integrated oil, steel producers, ag chemicals, utilities, marine shipping. Like I said, every one of these stocks are up. Some are up more than others. The indexes today, well, the NASDAQ's taking a breather. The other indexes, the S&P 500 and the 600, they're currently up. S&P 500 is up about 1/3 of a point, and the S&P 600 is up close to a half point. So we have a mixed market today. But that doesn't prevent us from finding excellent stocks that are moving up. Now I'm going to minimize this, and since I'm in this group right here, I'm going to apply some other scans using this smart group, which I just created, which I just ran. And so I'll bring up my quick pick window. Now, I said I'm rearranging. You're going to have a little different. Yours is going to be down in folder number 20, I believe, but I'm just going to use what I have here. And I'm going to go to my UNR or undercut and rally. These would be the undercuts, the 3 below the 6, And out of these 100 stocks, you can see that if you look at these columns here, this is the days down since the 3 crossed the 6, and the days down since the volume point of control crossed. So 3 days ago on this stock, National Fuel, let's bring it up. Okay, so there's your crossover down back here, and what do we have? These are the setups today. So what do I have? I have stocks that I know that are going up, and when I apply this view undercut and rally number 1 to the group, which is the Smart Group, here's a stock which is going up. You can see it was setting up. Here's the setup bar, and then here's the follow-through bar today. So I'm just using this base group that I ran. Let's look at another one. South Jersey Industries. This one isn't up very much. You can see it's still setting up. It looks like a buyout to me. How about the Bank of Montreal? Setup day, moving up. Diamond Rock Hospitality. Same thing. I don't like this chart because it's really too loose. I try to stay away from those. They're too hard to trade. And then ACHC. Nice setup here. Nice run. Setting up again and crossing over. Okay, so that's one scan that I can apply to this. And I can also go down to the crossover fan. Crossover screen, I should say. Now you can see that some of these crossed over 2 days ago because I'm doing this intraday. So the one would be 2 days ago. And I'll bring up the chart here as soon as it updates. So let's look at Southwest. There was really no setup day here. There was just a crossover day. But look at this. Effort to rise, followed through, and following through again today. Let's look at another stock. This one crossed over 2 days ago. Also no setup day there either. There was a doji, but it wasn't bullish. And here we had the crossover day 2 days ago. And now it's starting to move up. Let's do one more here. RES, how many days? This is yesterday, was the crossover day, and there's a follow-through day here today. So what I'm showing you here is the ability to run this scan. Let me bring the designer up. Get this group here, and then you can apply other scans to that group. And what I'm looking for here are low risk entries. I know the stock's going up because I just ran the scan, and then I can look here for stocks that are either setting up and crossing over today, or they're still setting up, or they crossed over yesterday and they're going higher. But you can see these are low risk entries. Now I have only concentrated on this chart over here. I have this daily chart here because it's got all of the intraday information, so I can see if a stock is moving up, and if the group's moving up, and if the volume's running above average. Now this one gapped down at the open. You can see that slight gap down, and now it's moving higher. Now I've kept some history. I want to show you something here. I'm going to go into my designer, and I'm going to click up here on the group inclusion report. I'll click on that. I want to include today's top 100, and then I'm going to go back in history. I've already pre-selected these January, February, and March, and the children are checked too, so all of the stocks will show up. And this is under my markets leader folder. The first day I collected or came up with this filter and started collecting was the 19th of January. So I'm going to run this, and let's just see which of the stocks, or a couple of the stocks that are coming up today, when they first started appearing. Now to find the ones that are coming up today, I'm scrolling down here, and here's one right here. Remember, I selected today's smart group, and that would be PXD. The first date that I have here is January 19th. So let's take a look at PXD. And I'll make this full screen. Now remember, I didn't start collecting until the 19th, which would be right here. And I'm sure if there were history, it would have shown up a lot earlier because the fan is in place and it's a strong relative strength stock. But anyway, from this point, it started showing up in my history. Now, it meets all the conditions. The fan is up. It isn't down more than 7% from its 52-week high, and it's a high relative strength stock. You can see an RS96 now. I don't know what it was then, but it had to be above 90 or it wouldn't be included in the group. So looking at this, you can see it pulled back. Just because it shows up doesn't mean it's a buy, but it did pull back here. Here's an accumulation day. 2 candles, no VPA, but I remember I put the requirement of a candle or a VPA or a combination of both to show accumulation. Here's the crossover day, and it has moved up nicely since then. I'm going to do an alternate A to bring this up, and I'm going to draw a line from the crossover day to where we currently are, and let's see what this has done. Over 42 days, it's up 20.3%. Well, that's not a bad return for a couple of months, is it? So that is one of the stocks. You can see here's it expanded to the downside, and then it started expanding to the upside. Then it went into consolidation mode. You know, it was choppy in through here, and notice how the group pretty much mirrors what happens here. When it's flat, this is flat. When it starts moving up, the group starts moving up. Here it flattened out on the group, and it flattened out here and went down. Here's 2 accumulation days. Here's an accumulation day, but no crossover. Here's the crossover day recently, and it's moved up nicely since then from about, well, it crossed over, let's say 235, and where is it today? $258. You can see the crossover day down here. I'm sorry, I went too far. Down here also. Now I'm going to do another one. Let's just go back to that and let's see. Here's TRGP, which started appearing on January 19th, close to the beginning of my data. Let's take a look at it. Now this is has a nice flow to it, and 119 is right here, same area as the other one. You can see the pullback and then the accumulation right here, and then the crossover, and it moved up nicely. So these stocks that I'm showing you now were all leaders on these days that are appearing in the HTML file. All of these dates, you can see all of the times that they appeared. Targa has appeared 44 times over that time period. 46 on ABBV. McKesson 46. These are not included in today's scan because it doesn't have this line right here. So that's why I included this group. I wanted to see which stocks that are showing up today. I wanted to look at their history, and you can see that there are several of them that are showing up today. Here is ADM. It started appearing about the same time. Right here is the 24th. Here's the 21st right here. As it was pulling back, it was still considered a market leader because it hadn't corrected over 9% or 7%, and it's a high relative strength chart. Let's go over here. That's where it is, right in this area here. And if I do the alternate I and bring this up, let's take it from the high of the crossover. That's a yellow line. I'm going to change that to a blue line. So what's it gained? It's gained 28.6% over 41 periods since here. And I am sure it would have appeared as a market leader back here too, but I don't have data going back that far. The reason I don't is I just created this filter about that time. So let's go back and look at another one. Okay, let's look at VNOM, which appeared on 119, VNOM. Looking for 119. Right here. It appeared here. It pulled back. It remained a market leader because it wasn't down more than 7% from the 52-week high. It based sideways, shot up and pulled back. It took a long time to get out of here, out of this area. Let's put a frame around this. Consolidation area. It did break out, had a nice move, pulled back a little bit, pulled back to here again. Here's the accumulation, these 2 days right here that it shot up, and now it's going again. So this one took a while to consolidate. You can see that. It is appearing now because you can look down here. You can see that there is a pocket pivot here, pocket pivot here. There was another one here. Here was the accumulation. Here's the effort to rise. And now it looks like it wants to go higher. I'll do one more, and that'll be it. You should get the idea. Let's go down to the next one. This is showing up today. BG. I didn't look at the... This showed up on January 21st also. That's about when my data began. I'll go back and look to make sure. Okay, BG. Let's see what this has done. Same time period. I haven't pointed this out, but notice the group was going down here. Then the group flattened out, started taking off. These were accumulation days, very clear accumulation days with these white candles. Here it tried to go. There was some price rejection here, but we finally got the crossover on this day here. Now this is a little bit more expensive stock, but if I do the alternate A, let's go from the close here. To the current price today, what do we have here? That's 18.6% over 39 periods. But there have been many opportunities to get into this stock. Here was one, here was one, moved up. It's going from, here's what always happens. Goes from expansion to contraction. Then it expanded to the downside a little bit, but accumulation set in on these bars. And then what happened? It went to expansion again. So whenever you chase stocks, a lot of times this is what's going to happen. You'll get in a little bit late, and then it just chops around for a while. But if the trend remains up like it did here, and when you start seeing a couple of pocket pivots, or a pocket pivot, that tells you there is some heavy buying. And then when you get the crossover here, that's a buy signal. Or you can buy on the accumulation. Doesn't mean it's going to go up, but if you want to try to get in earlier, you can take a small position on the accumulation and then add more on the crossover if it's going in your direction. So let me review this very quickly for you. What I do is, first thing I usually do is go in to the reference groups, select the industries. It's been updating in the background, so when I know the data is no more than 5 minutes old, I'm going to rebuild these groups just so I know where the strength is. And then I will go into the Tools menu and I will select Rebuild User SmartGroups. So this is going to give me current data. I'm updating all of these smart groups, so it takes a little while, and of course I'm recording this, so that takes some of my horsepower on this computer, but it really doesn't take that long. Okay, now I'm going under tutorials, and I'm using the intraday price up top 100 because the continuation filter is still on. I'm only getting this number of stocks. But if I click through and go back up to my intraday scorecard, you can see that I have all 100 stocks and every one of them are up. Now look at this next. This one is on fire today. Just out of curiosity, let's see if I've got it in this list here. I'll do a Control F. Whoops. No, it's just coming up today. Oil and gas services. It hasn't shown up as a leader before. But there are lots of ways to spot stocks like this intraday. This is one of them because it's up 34.84% and it is coming up in the intraday price up, fan up, top 100. Okay, so I've got the list. I'm in that group, and then this is where I can do the other scans. I can go down to the undercut and rally scans. The intraday shows me which of these stocks which are undercut and are going up today because all these stocks are going up, and I can see the crossover stocks also. And then I showed you that I like to do the continuation indicator that shows me which of these stocks had a pocket pivot yesterday. They're all up. They're all above. 3 is above the 6. That is a requirement of the continuation filter. Now, anything else? There's several things else you can do. I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to click on the most active up. Out of these 100, these are the most active based upon my criteria. I also have high relative volume. You can see that next NEXT is up because the volumes extremely high. I'll bring that stock up again. Let's look at the black chart. It shows me this volume is running between 2 and 3 and almost 4,000%, depending upon the moving average, times normal. And look at this volume spike. So that's it. This is a oil stock. I'm sure energy, oil, and gas. There must be news on it. It's a natural gas, I believe, and they're talking about shipping natural gas to Europe. So I'm sure this is why this one is moving. But if you look at this, no revenue, and earnings are negative. So highly speculative, but the day traders are going to make some money on this and move on more than likely. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend. This is just one of the many things that you can do with HGSI, and I'll be doing more of these soon. More of these videos soon, I should say.